Boss, welcome. Thank you so much for joining me. You're talking about an app. I'm
You're
so
very
buzzing to
welcome.
hear about it. Let's go.
So this is something I have been wanting to do long time. I actually started 2 years ago. So my little boy was only a baby, toddler. So being a mom, it changes everything. Before you only need to worry about yourself, family, people around you, but having a baby, so it changed, of course, a lot of things. So I thought I could do it quicker, but it took me 2 years just to start to filming the content for the app. Fitness. It is a Pilates app, but I would say it is a fitness Pilates app. So finally, after 2 years, this year in 2023, I managed to launch it. So I'm now, I mean, people are buying it, people are training with me and building this community. It is all good, very, very finally, I would say happy and exciting
Mm.
times.
That's amazing. Like what pushed you to be able to or to want to build an app? That's a big thing.
Yeah, it is big really. It requires a lot of effort, a lot of time. And as instructors, we dedicate most of our time to teaching.
Mhm.
So I had all my clients in the UK. Because of COVID, of course, teaching changed a lot. So we start to teach a lot of hours online on Zoom calls. And once we were allowed to go back, things quite changed. So all my peers, I remember now, all the studio owners, their studios were shut quite long time. I was lucky because I stopped all group classes I was running on Mind Body app in the UK ages before COVID. So I was only teaching one-to-one sessions, which was very lucky with COVID. So I carried on exactly the same on Zoom. And then when they were allowed to come back to my studio face to face, it was a quite smooth transition for me, I would say. But dedicating all teaching hours, having a baby, becoming a mom, so I didn't know where to really how to find and fit the time in, taking the baby to nursery, coming back, teaching the classes, running around in between maybe my lunch break. Can I really do this? So I started in a way, slowly. It is like the story. So I was like a tortoise pace, but I finally got there. So because that was really demand for it. So what happened basically on Instagram, as people started to ask questions, how can I train with you? So it is only me. And I was running my Pilates studio in the UK on MindBody app with loads of Pilates, mat reformer, bar classes. I'm also a bar instructor. And I was teaching lots of group classes throughout the day, morning sessions, evening, and in between one-to-one sessions to some clients. And then I specialized on knee and shoulder injuries. I started to do more post rehab work. And then I said, I'm going to stop group classes. I only want to specialize on injuries and I'm going to work closely with, because it's really much, I find it much more rewarding, really helping people coming from injuries, because I'm myself coming from a big injury. That's how I started my Pilates career. So I said, I'm just gonna continue like this. And whilst doing all of this, Instagram started to grow more and people start to ask, so how can I do it? But because it was only me, I have only so much time. I can only take on so much people. I start to accept some on Zoom from the UK, from other countries in the Europe. But then I said, I just need to find, bless you.
Thank you.
I said, I just need to find some other solution. By then, I got in contact with the guys at Tribe. Tribe is the tech company, app company, and I really got on well with them. They are brilliant. They helped me a lot because I'm not a very techy person. I have to say I'm not the best IT, but I learned a lot from them anyway. So it's just started 2 years ago, and then the move was a big move for us. So moving from within the same country is not easy. So moving overseas, it was a big change for us, changing school, house, everything, where we live. So coming to Dubai, it kind of paused things a little bit. And then once we settled, I just carried on. And then now it only really my main platform that I sell the app is Instagram. So people on Instagram, they buy it, they train with me. That's all really.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. What got you into Pilates for rehabilitation? You know, that's something that
So
I've not heard too much.
yes, in 2014, that's when I was engaged to my husband. I had a big accident. So I had a whiplash. That was a proper whiplash from an accident. And the vertebra on my neck deviated from my spine. That was enough to get paralyzed. So I had a bit of a year that really, couple of tough years, I would say. Uh, I didn't get paralyzed in the end. They found a very good brain surgeon in Turkey, and that brilliant doctor, he really helped me. So I just returned to life basically because when they operated me and when they put my neck together, there was no movement on the left side of my body. My left arm wouldn't move. So I was a very healthy person, jumping around. So suddenly my life completely was upside down. And as someone, I studied business. Right after uni, I started to work for different companies. And these were all multinational companies. This is all in Turkey. So I started to work for different companies, big names, and I promoted. The last one was a really big retail monster. You would know definitely in the UK. So I worked for them. That was my last role. That was when I had the accident, and it changed my life completely. When I finally had this very long hours of operation, living that hard time and coming back to life, after the operation, it makes you just to kind of think about all your life. I said I'm never going to go back to business life again. I'm not going to work in an office. So I was in that hospital bed trying to recover with that huge dressing on my throat, because neck surgeries, you might think they're going to sort it from the back, but they're all done from front. So I had that massive scar on my neck, big neck brace. I'm in hospital for days. People in my team, they're coming and visiting me. They're telling me things about the things in the office. I'm just laying that. It doesn't matter. As long as you breathe, doesn't matter. So it kind of, I, I just put things, it just made me put everything in perspective. So I said, I'm just going to leave. I'm not going to sit in an office with a computer. I just want to do what I want to do. Pilates by then was just a hobby. It was something, it was my hobby. I was doing it for quite some time, and I really loved it. And not long after this surgery, when we got married, I moved to the UK, and we just made this decision with my husband. I said, I really want to change everything and just start fresh. So I did all my training, all my education in the UK with Stott Pilates.
Mm.
This is in London. So first I got certified for med and then for reformer, and then it never finishes really. You know as well, you're an instructor. So it's just every year I started to add one thing: scoliosis, knee injuries, shoulder injuries. I was very inclined to do that injury rehab, becoming a post rehab specialist. I wanted to really, there are specialty tracks with Stott Pilates. It's a long journey, but I said, I really want to do this. I want to become a post rehab specialist and help as many people as I can, because coming from something that life changing, I said, that's what I want to do for my life. And it just changed everything. And I got qualified. I had to work hard. I have to admit, because I didn't have any sports background. So looking at what I do now, people think I was always very sporty. I'm coming from gymnastics, this and that. I was very stretchy. No, it wasn't any of this really. It is all hard work. And I just had to, I would say, study and work very hard for it.
Broke your neck.
That's quite the story, bro.
That's that's one hell of a story, and that's one hell of a badass lady being able to come back from that. And sometimes it takes those traumatic events, right, to be like, what are we doing? We're working for the
Yes.
man, in an office behind a desk, and I don't necessarily want to do this. And yeah, and then you change your life around slowly. At the time, it feels painfully slowly, literally. And then looking back, you're like, it's not that long ago. Time passes anyway, so we might as well do something about it.
No, definitely, definitely.
Wow.
I mean, when I think about it now, when you are in something very challenging, very difficult times, difficult days, I would lay in hospital bed. Am I ever going to be able to move again? Am
Yeah.
I, my husband, by then, my fiance, he said, you just came from that eight, I don't know, 8, 10 hours of surgery. He said, your color looked green. He said, I was really scared. So they are going to tell me whether they saved you, you are gonna, did they fix it? So anyway, they fixed that. I didn't get paralyzed, but it was a big healing. They placed metal plates on my spine. So even now, yes, I do this job, but I know how to look after myself. I need to be
Mm.
careful with certain things. I can't do extreme sports from now on. So I'm not going to go and do skiing or something extreme or going on a roller coaster, something like this, because these are things not good for me. I know how to look after myself, and I need to be doing regular certain things for my thorax, certain exercises all the time, keep myself really mobile through my upper back and look after my neck. And if there is any exercise, even with Pilates, there are some of advanced repertoire, I try to stay away from them. I teach them, but for myself, I don't practice them often because for my neck, there are certain things really not good because I'm all the way fused from C4 to C7, my neck all the way down
Wow.
to the top of my back. It is just fused. So I just now know how to look after myself, really.
C4 to C7.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's quite bionic, bionic. I mean, when you're in it, it is really. I remember now these days. It's a long time ago, a decade ago. But when I think about it, you always think, why this happened to me? Why me? Is you just think about, but you know why you? Because later, when I look back, what uh, happened and all the events, it changed my life for the good.
Yeah.
And I'm now doing something really meaningful, helping people. And I'm a big, big advocate of all the app and everything you probably saw. It is all about movement for everybody. This is the biggest thing I believe because people think I'm overweight. I cannot do Pilates. No, you can do Pilates. I'm not flexible. I can't do. No, you can do Pilates. I am now too old. I have a baby. I am a mom. I'm pregnant. But I keep telling the same thing. Movement is really for everybody, no matter what you are, because I'm coming from no background. So I didn't have any background. An accident changed my life. And something that was hobby for me, now it is my job. And I keep telling people everybody deserves to move and it is for everybody. Someone like me who completely lost it for a period of time and stayed in a hospital bed, when you lose something, you know that it was so, so precious being able to go to the gym, being able to go to Pilates lessons, doing all of it. I said, I'm never going to take any day for granted. As long as I can move, I'm happy. But as you say, I think until there is such a big sign, big event in our lives, we don't really know, especially if young people, when they are too young, they don't know how precious it is.
Yes. Yes. I couldn't agree more. Sometimes a major injury just changes everything, and that's not usually physical. The biggest thing is usually mental. The way you see things, your perspective changes of, for a short
Definitely.
period of time, or unfortunately forever, your physical movement has changed because of it, and you're like, oh, like it can be taken away in an instant. You're like, yeah, like we really are that fragile.
Definitely.
However, I love your approach of movements for everybody, because I'll say the same thing of movement is medicine. let's just go out and do something. Like it doesn't matter what it is. Go stretch today, get a
Exactly.
little bit of a sweat on. You could go hard or you could go real, real soft. It doesn't really matter. Like swing your arms around, just do
Yes.
something, right? And eventually you'll end up feeling better. If My question though is, if people have never really, well, have probably heard of Pilates but never done it before, well, how would
Hmm.
you sum it up in an instant? Because I've never done it before. I'd love to give it a go.
Hmm.
But it's one of those things that I've never had the opportunity
You
to.
never
So
try.
no.
You do, just tell me, you do mainly CrossFit and that's what you teach, isn't
Yeah,
it?
CrossFit, Olympic weightlifting, stuff like that.
Yeah. Which are quite intense, really. If you think about the intensity, they are really, I mean, CrossFit is really, I mean, I admire CrossFit trainers, it's a big thing. So with Pilates, there's a big, as I say, when I say movement is for everybody, it really is. So children can do it, golfers love it. I had all my golfers in the UK and here as well. Golfers love it. Dancers, it is brilliant for them because they get so many injuries from extreme movements. Pilates is a combination of strength, mobility, and it all comes together. When it is done on mat, it is all with body weight. And there's no weight, it is all body weight. But when it comes to equipment Pilates, it can be on a reformer, it can be on a Pilates chair, what we call exo chair, Pilates chair, it can be on a Cadillac, it's a bigger machine. It is still reformer frame, but it is a bigger frame machine. It can be on a leather barrel. So all this equipment, there are resistance on them. You can still do loads of mobility work. It really lengthens your muscles with the resistance, and again it strengthens your muscles with resistance. Like I see reformer like a compact gym machine. You could do hamstring curls in it, you could do leg extension on it, you could do all the knee exercises, quad exercises, or you could do calf exercises on it. So you can do upper body, everything for upper body. There are hand straps. Those straps also go onto your foot. We call them feet in straps. So there are loads of different variations of it. On the mat, the ultimate goal with Pilates is mat. So Joseph Pilates created it, and mat is the hardest one. Although students always think when they do reformer, they think like I'm now doing a more advanced Pilates. Reformer was created by Joseph Pilates during the World War II, and he wanted to help the soldiers who were wounded during the war. So he was literally trying to cure them with the reformer, with their arms and legs all in those resistances. So reformer is more of a, sometimes I would say rehab tool, is brilliant for rehab clients when they come to us, and sometimes to challenge more athletic clients. So when a rugby player comes, when a golfer comes, when a tennis player comes, when a runner comes, reformer with all those resistances can provide really, really good athletic workout for them. That's why I say it is for everybody. When a prenatal client comes, when a pregnant lady, Pilates is brilliant for them because when they are pregnant, they really get so much from Pilates, all that combination of strength, mobility, and you can really adjust how intense you want the workout to be. Because I had many very athletic and really, really fit pregnant. They are even harder to train
Yeah.
because with pregnancy you want to follow, I'm a prepostnatal specialist, so you want to follow all the guidelines, but they are really fit, they want to do more, they go and run. I have clients, they go and run up to 38, 39 weeks. So that's why it is for everybody. It is that combination of strength and flexibility. That's why I love it. It's just amazing. I would love you to try. I wish you were here, you would come and do a lesson with me.
I'd love to, man. I'd absolutely love to. I think moving around in whatever format is awesome. I'd give anything a go in terms of sport, in terms of training for philosophies. I think the combination of all of them combined is we're trying to
Yeah, I
figure
am
out
the
how to,
same.
yeah, we're trying to figure
I
out how
am
to
the
help
same.
people, and like
Yeah.
just I say it all the time, like when folk walk in through the CrossFit gym, for example, and they're like, oh, you know, Do we have to do this? And I'm like, well, no. Like, you don't have to do this. If you don't enjoy it, go do something else, man, because we can all achieve a healthier and fitter mindset and healthier, fitter body, right? And healthier and fitter habits by doing different stuff. We don't have to come here. You can go to yoga if you want. You can go to step class. You can go do, F45. You can go be a power lifter. You can go do
Definitely.
Pilates. You can do whatever you want to do. They're like, oh, I don't have to do this. It's like, no, dude. Like, this is
Oh, I'm
just
glad
going.
you think like this as well, because some, not only people we train, some instructors, they
Yeah.
have just they have this mindset. I only lift weights, or I
Yeah.
only do, even Pilates instructors. I have that type of friends. So only Pilates is the right method. They think, but what I tell people, just find what you love
Yeah.
and just do it again and again, because I
100%.
am very open, like you said. I'm very open-minded when it comes to movement. I wish I learned CrossFit. I try to do always different things. I tried tennis, I tried this and that. So but I know my abilities now, and I know what I love. So I love running, I love Pilates, and because of the amount of running I'm doing now,
Mhm.
I had to really, really incorporate weights, because I know it really is necessary. Because the longer distances are, this year, I've done some races. I've done, last one was Russell came half marathon. The more you increase the volume of running, you really need to, I believe, get some strength training in.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it is quite prone. You are quite prone to injuries. Although I add resistance with Pilates, I still saw the need that I needed to add strength training. That's why I'm open to anything really when it comes to movement.
It's fascinating as well, right? How the different mediums kind of blur the lines and they mold together. Just like, well, actually, if I'm just a traditional or purist and all I do is lift weights and I squat, bench, and deadlift, right? You're only going to
Yeah,
get so far, and that's great. But if not everybody is a top athlete where they're going to break world records, and then there's also, if you look back through the history books, we got Jeff Capes, for example, in the UK, who was a strongman. And I was like, well, you look at him, I was like, well, and second and third day of events, like, why are you still got energy? Why are you still moving around? And you actually have a conversation with him. It's like, oh, well, I used to work on the farm. I used to do different stuff. I used to pick things up and move around. So your overall work
of
capacity is
course.
higher and stuff. And you go back through the whole Soviet GPP system of, okay, we've just come off an Olympic cycle. Every athlete is going to do everything. They're going to bear crawl, they're going to row, they're going to lift
Yeah,
weights, they're going to run, they're going to throw a ball. And you're like, but they're a dancer, but they're a weightlifter. And it's like, yeah, we're building the base of the pyramid. And if we look at people in general. I'm like, well, what are we trying to do? Are we trying to hone in for an event? Are we trying to be a bit healthier and fitter for life? If it's the
of course.
second one, then maybe we just need to do different shit, just build the base of the pyramid. And I'm just like, let's go do Pilates for 6 weeks, or let's do it once a week continuously. And then maybe you then go swim once a week, and then you do a workout that lasts you 2 hours and it's continuously running, rowing, skipping, or whatever. And then you lift weights, and it's just this different stimuli that you're trying to adapt to. And plus, it mixes it up, it's a bit more fun.
Definitely, definitely. It is fun, and I think I genuinely believe it is necessary as well. Even with running, the science now all tells, because in old times, runners used to just run.
Yeah.
They weren't worried about building muscles, they weren't worried about strength training. Now, science is saying not only strength training, for runners, aerobic fitness, they're saying go and do different things. Certain days of week, just do the bike. So that's why now I'm trying to incorporate bike, and it really makes you a better runner, just
Yeah.
incorporating different things. I see Pilates as my insurance. So if I do Pilates, I feel like I really keep myself away from injuries. And strength training, same thing. If you don't have this power in your legs, it's really, really hard for longer distances just to keep going, basically.
Yeah, for sure. I got this saying where work is work. People get all in their head about the nitty gritty of, oh, I didn't put 100 kilos on the bar. I didn't hold a certain position. My max heart rate on my watch, wasn't
Yeah,
180
yeah,
or something like that. I was like, yeah, but you got in, you did something, right? You got a little sweat on, you
definitely,
moved around, you did work, and that work over time is going to end up equating into something pretty big. You don't have to get a certain objective data. We don't have to come in and do something specific. It's like, no, 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 just do something, and then get a high five and I'll see you tomorrow, and eventually over 3, 5 years, that's going to be something pretty big. You're going to look back and
definitely,
not be able to recognize your own person, your own self. Same with nutrition, right? Like we're not going to have one great meal and the next thing everything's sorted. It's one time. Everyone can do something good one time. It's like
definitely.
the toughness comes in because we've got to do it every day, or at least
Yeah,
that
it is
majority of the days.
boring. Yes, majority. It is boring. That's why people I think struggle. I mean, boring is actually very good because doing the same workouts, doing the same healthy meals, it is really consistently doing them is difficult. It is a
Yeah.
challenge, but boring is very good because if you are boring, if you go to bed same time every night, if you eat the same healthy meals, you won't see the result tomorrow,
Mm.
but 6 weeks from now, 6 months, and 2 years later, when you look back, they just create massive changes. Like exercise, when you do it in the session, yes, there is pain, there is discomfort, but there has to be discomfort. If there's no discomfort, you're not going to change anything. But when you look back 6 months later, that's why when the clients first come, they say, oh, some of them, how can I lose weight? Um, you may not really lose weight just with Pilates. Losing weight is something else. I'm not a weight loss expert, but
Yeah.
we know the rules, calorie deficit. So you need to do your cardio, you need to do your work. So I just basically explained that. But everybody wants those things, but when it comes to doing it is just boring things. But I think we need to be ready to take on those boring things.
Yeah.
When I first started running, I was always I never really, I have to admit, I never really committed to running properly. So then what happened, I was here and there doing a little bit. I was always with Pilates, all over Pilates, learning, teaching, everything. And then another unfortunate event in 2020, it wasn't a good year for anyone, was it? 2020? No, I think no one's best year 2020. It was not only COVID, it was extra hard year for me. So I had a quite difficult time mentally, physically. That's when I really started running. I really became a long distance runner in 2022 when I really putting all my time, effort, like training. For example, tomorrow morning I've got my speed training. Every Wednesday, my speed training day, and I wake up at 5 o'clock, and I know I have to get it done in this heat because now in Dubai, 40 degrees around 9, 10 o'clock. So I really need to go before sunrise and do it. I'm still trying to do outdoors, but it's not gonna last because in about a month, Dubai will reach 50 degrees. Then I will have to do it on treadmill, although boring. I'll still I'll still do it. But I truly now I find myself I'm committed to running. You have to commit. If you want to achieve something, you have to commit. I cannot believe from someone in their own world. I was a runner in my own little world in the UK. I wouldn't go and race this year. I mean, I just couldn't believe it. I went and done my first ever 5K race. And can you believe I came first female in
Wow.
the race I did? Yes. I really surprised myself. And then I thought I could never run a half marathon. I thought, oh, that's really big distance. How am I going to do this? I'm like this. Come on, everybody does it. Like just do the training. You know what you need to do. You're an instructor. Just do the training. And then I basically just committed to half marathon training. I got my head around, and I did Ras Al Khaimah half marathon. It's a beautiful half marathon. You just run literally by the ocean.
Mm.
here in one of the Emirates, and it was just beautiful. And I did complete it. I didn't walk, I promise. I did run all of it.
That's amazing. That's the beauty of consistency. Just keep showing up. I think we got this distorted view on things, and it's always going to be fun. We're always going to be happy and having a good time and jogging to the gym and loving it. And we're like, that's not going to be the case, guys.
No,
Most of the time, you're not
no,
going to want to be there, and it's going to be boring and you're going to friggin' hate it. And, you're going to want to leave real quick after entering that room. But the satisfaction that you're going to get after completing it and the
definitely.
the habits that you'll create is where it's at. That's what we need. Those habits. You just got to show up. Just got to show up and do something. Turn that brain off, switch to
Exactly.
autopilot, and just do something. And yeah, that's gonna end up getting you somewhere.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, people think most of the time because we are teaching movement, we are instructors, they think for our own training, we are
Hmm.
really motivated all the time. I tell my clients, I really am not motivated all the time.
Yeah.
I just know even though it is difficult, I have to show up and I need to do it. And you know it, I'm sure, very well. So when you teach certain amounts of sessions a day, I could easily have a cup of tea, sit with that Zoom, because I'm still teaching quite a few people from the UK. So I
Hmm.
still have my UK clients. They have this machine that I have here, Reformer, in their house, some of them on the mat, and I'm teaching them. I don't do anything whilst I'm teaching. So I'm
Hmm.
just talking to them, I'm guiding them. They're quite now at a certain level, like intermediate, advanced, and they are moving, and I keep guiding them. I could just sit for hours and hours with a cup of tea, sitting here and doing nothing. At the end of the day, some days, if I really don't wake up early and do my own training, I might really end up with doing nothing for myself. It is
Hmm.
quite dangerous. That's why, I mean, we are just responsible from it, all of us. And I tell people, even athletes, elites, they are not motivated every day. They're not motivated. No one is motivated. You just need to be disciplined to do it.
You just got to show up. You just got to walk through those doors. And that's the power of the community. When there's group classes, when there's like a CrossFit class, when there's an F45 class, a Pilates class. I'm gonna sneeze again. Fuck.
Bless you.
I'm allergic to the outside. Damn hay fever. But that's the power of classes, because you show up and everybody else pulls you through. And unfortunately on the other side, we're the ones taking the class. And most of the time when we show up, it's when everybody else is at work. Or it's
Yeah,
a everybody else is in bed and asleep, and it's weird times on the weekend, and it's like, wow, you must have all the time in the world to train. I was like, no, we
no,
got some time, but also the time, when you leave work, are you buzzing to go back to work to do extra work? They're like, no, like I don't want to go back until Monday morning. I'm like, precisely. The only difference is
yeah,
I don't have a desk. We got a box
yeah,
and maybe we sit on a med ball and we walk around a little bit more and we scream and shout and the music might be a little higher, but we're still in our place of work. My
of
training is
course,
best when I'm not coaching. It's quite
of
funny,
course.
like finding that balance between coaching well and training well. Having two hats and be able to take one off and be like, I'm a coach right now. Like this is my job. My job is to help people. And then taking that off and putting another hat on of like, I'm an athlete right now. My job is
Yeah,
to help me. And I
yeah,
find
of
that I
course.
find that last one really difficult of taking the coach hat off and putting the athlete hat on because our job is to serve people, right? So it's really difficult to in certain times of the day put you first.
Definitely, definitely. And do you find it? I sometimes, what I want to do is, as an instructor, I just want someone to tell me what to do. I don't even want to think about what to do. That's why I take in other instructors' classes. I love going to other classes. I wish I would come and learn CrossFit from you. I would be probably rubbish at powerlifting. Don't
You're
count
welcome
me from
anytime.
myself.
You're
But
welcome
cross, I would
anytime.
love to learn this because it's really good when someone tells you what to do. You just don't need to think about it. Shut everything, your brain. Someone tells you train. Brilliant, wonderful time. Because for instructors, we need to plan what we are going to do
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
day for running. But how shall I warm up now? What do I do? That's why I'm actually very happy with the app because now what I do. So there are those different sections. There's a mobility collection. Now, when I come from running, rather than think, I put my own class. There are so many mobility classes: hip mobility, shoulder mobility, mobility for runners. Or when I'm going to running, I just take this, my phone, put my app, runners warm up one, warm up two, warm up
Yeah.
three, because now they are ready. I do them as well because it's better for me.
For sure. Practice what you preach, right?
Yes.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. This has been an honor and a privilege.
You are very welcome, Alex. It's been really lovely talking to you.
And whenever
Thanks for having me.
no, you're welcome anytime. Whenever I get out to the Middle East, hopefully in winter, so I don't fry as much.
Yes.
50 degrees is too much for me, man.
don't, don't come in the summer.
No,
In the summer, you would hate it.
that's
You,
too
you need
much.
to come in the winter. Yes, definitely visit in the winter. New Zealand is not that warm.
I mean, it's hot for me.
Definitely, after the UK, it's
Yeah.
going to be warm for you. How hot it gets?
It can get to like 35.
Yeah.
I was in the South Island for 3 years, and that's what it would get in summer. Yeah, so which is too hot for me. That's too much.
Hmm. That's perfect for us. If it
No,
stays 35, as long as it
crazy.
doesn't go to 50, we are happy. We just don't go out, basically. It's like
No,
UK's cold and wet winter.
it sounds a lot like home.